On October 16, 2015, Dr. Jerry Rooney was officially inaugurated as the 7th president of St. John Fisher College. While new to the office of the president, Dr. Rooney is not new to Fisher, having spent almost 2 decades in executive leadership roles with enrollment management, advancement, and planning. Coming up, we talk to Fisher's new president and learn about his history with the college, how he faces daily challenges of the office, and his plans for Fisher going forward. Stay with us. Hello, and welcome to our community forum. I'm Dr. Lauren Vicker of the Department of Media and Communication, and I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Jerry Rooney to the studios of Cardinal Television. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Lauren. It's good to be with you.
Well, we appreciate you fitting us into your very busy schedule. For the people who aren't familiar with your background, some alumni, maybe some people in the community, could you tell us a little bit about your work history and how you got to where you are now?
Sure. I started out years ago as a college admissions counselor working in my hometown of Philadelphia at St. Joseph's University, where I went to work right after graduating from Villanova. So I started out going around and visiting with high school students and high school guidance counselors talking about college and their plans for college and ways that St. Joseph's at the time might fit into their educational future. And from there moved up to Fairfield University in Connecticut for a few years before going to St. Francis College in Loretto, Pennsylvania, which is where I was immediately before coming to Fisher. So I spent about 10 years in Western Pennsylvania at St. Francis as the Dean of Enrollment Management. So in that capacity, I oversaw admissions and financial aid, got some exposure to work and retention with our students who were there at the time. So the opportunity in coming to Fisher was one that provided me the chance to become a college vice president, which was something that I really welcomed at the time. It was a good time for our family to move, and it was a good point for me professionally to join Dr. Keogh's administration back in 1996.
Okay, and so your job changed though during the time that you were in that role, correct?
It did. When I first came to Fisher, in fact, admissions and financial aid were together in enrollment management. And then added to that was marketing and communications. And then added to that later became intercollegiate athletics. And then when Dr. Bain became the president after Catherine Keogh passed, he had overseen institutional research at the time. So institutional research became part of my area of responsibility too. So those areas continued for a while, and then in the spring of 2012, when our former colleague Bill O'Connor left to assume a new role at the U.S. Naval Academy, Bill had been the vice president for institutional advancement, so I had the opportunity to begin to oversee that area. Interspersed through those were responsibilities for strategic planning, so I had the opportunity with Dr. Lynn Balta to co-chair our most recent college-wide strategic planning effort back in the 2011-12 timeframe. And so planning was an aspect of my role too.
Right. Sounds very expansive though.
Yeah.
a lot of responsibility.
But it was a good, it was kind of a gradual way to become responsible for more, to gain greater breadth in my understanding of the institution. And I have to tell you that now, those areas of responsibility and the background that I had in them, it serves me well day to day in the role that I'm in today.
So when Dr. Bain announced that he was going to be retiring from the presidency of Fisher, did you know right away that you were interested in applying for the job? I did at that point, but I hadn't come to Fisher really with any expectation of ever being the president of Fisher. And when I came in '96, it was really the opportunity to become a college vice president that drew me in, to be the member of a team with a new president coming in. There was a lot of energy at the time institutionally, and I had been at my prior role for 10 years, had kind of exhausted the professional opportunities that were there for me at the time. So, but as I came to Fisher, I also, around 2001, went back to school at the University at Buffalo. I had started my doctorate at Penn State when I was in Pennsylvania, and then took some years off. And as I resumed my schooling and was able to frame academically some of the professional experiences that I had, I began to research a little bit more about the college presidency, kind of as an academic
exercise initially,
okay.
just to look at who became presidents and the work of the president and that sort of thing. And then I grew to work more closely both with Dr. Keogh and Dr. Bain, so got to see a little bit more of the roles that they each did and the work that they did and the impact really that a president could have on an institution. So as he was coming to the point of announcing his retirement, he and I had actually spoke on various occasions about my suitability for the role, my background, and how it may have prepared me in some instances for the role and in other areas where I didn't have maybe the background from my own professional experience. But we talked about it, and I thought it would be at least worth giving it a try to see if I could get into this position that I'm now in. So it worked out okay.
Well, and the trustees went through a national search process,
Yeah.
so I'd say that says something that you were the top candidate.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably been somewhat helpful already being familiar with the school and knowing the trustees and in terms of the transition to the job.
Yeah, it's very helpful to be here,
Right.
because you don't have to meet new people. I imagine when you come into a new institution as the president, there's not only learning the presidency if you've not been one before,
Right.
but there's learning a lot about the institution, the constituencies, the students, the trustees, the whole thing. So here, I've really had the good fortune of working very closely with folks like
All
yourself,
these
the
people,
faculty,
right,
and
yeah.
the deans through the years in my varying roles that I've had, and working closely with the board and many of our benefactors. So while I'm new to the role, the institutional knowledge that I bring with me into it has served me very well, I think, in the short term. It's enabled me to make the transition a little bit shorter, I think, in terms of the work that I'm able to actually get done.
Absolutely. And your position is somewhat unique because you do come from the advancement area. And isn't a lot of the job of the president to do some fundraising for the college?
It is.
As well, so
I'm a new president. I'm in my 5th month now, so it's pretty new. But in that first 4 months, there's been a lot of fundraising activity, to be honest with you.
Right.
And it's a very important aspect of the role. Growing the college's endowment is something that I'm very interested in doing for the longer term success of the institution. And we still need facilities, around campus. There are different capital projects that would benefit from philanthropy. So that's very much part of the work. And then, of course, continuing to focus on enrollments, is very important because we have a large reliance on tuition dollars to support the overall enterprise. So that's something that I think is in my background that has served me well, too, in the short term.
Absolutely. So you actually, as you mentioned, you did start July 1,
Yeah.
even though the inauguration was in the middle of October. So how has it been so far? What kind of challenges are you finding just day to day in this new position?
It's been busy,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. And there's, although I've been at Fisher a long time, being in the new role gives me a new opportunity to talk to people in a different way. So the conversations that I can have with people are different. So I've been trying to make myself as available to different people who want to come and talk to me, or to get around and talk to as many people as I can, just to kind of hear what their thoughts and hopes are for the institution, to hear what they think I might be doing to advance the mission of the school. So it's been busy, but it's really, I have to tell you, it's been a lot of fun to have the opportunity to lead this institution. Fisher is so well regarded in the Rochester area, and I've been able to go out and meet with a lot of people in the community. And there's just really been great support for us institutionally and for me personally as I'm moving into this role. So it's been busy, but very enjoyable.
And are you having more of an opportunity to interact with students at this point?
I actually have.
Are you?
It's kind of
Okay.
funny. What got me into higher education, what I really loved, was the opportunity to interact with students on an individual basis, like we're talking now.
Yeah.
I enjoyed always on the admissions side interviewing students and learning about their interests and what they were interested in terms of academics or their career. So, but as you move up, sometimes you move out of the things that drew you into roles,
Right.
if that makes sense to you. So as I advanced in my role, I really had less interaction with students, except for the handful of students who were work-study students in the office, or those who I interacted with, through a different committee or two that I may have been on. But as the president, I've actually had a lot of time to go out and be with the students. So I've really enjoyed the opportunity to do that. We had orientation right away after I started in the summer, so it was a great student orientation team. So I got to know them very well And then the fall orientation, of course, the team is much larger for that. So had the opportunity to interact with them and help them on move-in day. You know, Susan and I were able to help move some families
That's right. I
in,
saw the
and,
picture of you.
So it was fun, you know, to be out there in my ball cap, and
Right.
you know, people didn't really know
Who
was
is
this
that
you
guy?
know, but so that was fun. And then I've just had a lot of different experiences. Last week I had the opportunity to go over and meet with the Student Senate, and just at one of their meetings, and hear what their concerns were, what their questions were. There's a President Students Advisory Board that Dr. Bain had constituted that I'm going to be able to continue with, so we're meeting next week for the first time. Earlier this week I had a chance to go with a few of our students over to the University at Buffalo. One of my former professors had invited me back to talk about my transition to the presidency, so I thought it would be a good chance to take some of our students over to just see the graduate program over there. So different interactions have been enabled by the role, and I've always enjoyed the opportunity to just sit and talk to people. So the role has given me the opportunity to do that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, that's terrific. Let's talk about the inauguration. It was obviously an exciting day, beginning with your picture on the front page of the Democrat and Chronicle, along with the new presidents of Brockport and Geneseo. So a lot of publicity for the college, which was very nice to see. But what a ceremony, a lot of pomp and circumstance. Maybe to an outsider, they might not really understand what that's all about.
Yeah, it's a great celebration for the institution, you know, so it's really first and foremost, I think, a celebration of St. John Fisher College. And so the various elements of it that honor the traditions of the institution, I think, are really quite nice. So, you know, the marshal and mace bearer was Dr. Don Mensch. And Don has known all of the presidents of Fisher, so, and he's, I think, probably our longest serving employee. So it was really a great honor for me to have him there leading the procession in. And at the other side, the Basilian influence on the institution has been so great. So we were really honored to have the Superior General of the Basilian community, Father George Smith, speak as well. So it was a great community celebration. A lot of people put a lot of work into it. The scale of it is really, it was quite something. Walking into the athletic center, you know, and seeing everything was really very humbling, to be honest with you. And
the presidents of all the institutions and the representatives who showed up. So it was, that
it's a great tradition. You know, later in the week, the following week, I actually went down to Geneseo because Dr. Battles, who is the new president at Geneseo, was inaugurated the week after I was. And it's a great tradition for colleges to inaugurate, you know, or install the new presidents, and a lot of formality around it, and it's a real coming together of the campus community. So I was really gratified with the number of faculty members who were there, the trustees, the staff and students, and a lot of our family friends who made the trip in. So it was a big day for the college and also for our family.
Well, and I think a very special moment was when your son Matthew spoke. That was pretty emotional for everyone. Yes, we were impressed because, you know, a lot of parents of boys say, I don't know if there are that many sons who could speak so eloquently about their parents. So
that was very
touching.
touching.
Great. So that
it was an emotional day, as you might imagine.
Yes. And you actually did it a little bit differently because you had a series of events during the week kind of celebrating the inauguration, which I think was a nice touch.
Yeah, you know, Lauren, there's so much as a campus community that we have to celebrate, and so many of our rich academic traditions, our programs are, they've been staples in the community, they've been staples on campus for so long. So we were able to have a series of programs throughout the week that highlighted in many respects different academic departments, ranging from your own to, you know, we had the Lost Science lecture, we had one of our physics graduates back speaking on one of the evenings in the week. And then we had a nice community conversation where we were able to bring together some people who are engaged with working with youth in the community to talk to us just about their work as a means of helping us maybe to further understand how we might plug into work that's already going on in the community. And then a friend of mine who has become fairly popular to students, you know, in ESPN world is Joe Lenardi, the bracketologist. So Joe took the time to come up and talk to our students at 9 o'clock one night, you know,
That's
and we had a great turnout for that, so it was fun. So it was really a great week of activities. So it extended out the celebration from just a single day to the whole week. So
but it brought
good.
more people into the celebration. So I think
Yeah.
that was very nice about
Yeah.
it. So as you are starting to plan out, what do you see as some of your priorities for St. John Fisher College?
The most immediate one is really assembling a senior leadership team. So as you know, the provost is an interim provost now, so we have a provost search that's going on. I had effectively served 2 roles on the enrollment side and then advancement. So we have a search on for a vice president for institutional advancement that we're looking to complete before the calendar year ends.
Okay.
And so the provost and the vice president for institutional advancement will be 2 members of my cabinet. So short term, trying to get the cabinet leadership in place. We're also searching for a few deans, as you know.
Right, yeah.
So making sure that those searches move along and that we're able to get a good core of academic leaders reestablished. So short term, it's really developing the team. And then what I hope after the team is set is that next year we're able to re-engage as a campus community in the strategic planning process. So the current plan spans the 2012 to 2017 timeframe. And so in the 16-17 academic year with a new team in place, I'm really hopeful that we're able to engage as a campus community in an updating of the strategic plan. And out of that will come, I hope, the new priorities that will form, you know, many of the major initiatives of my tenure as president. So the short term, it's really kind of continuing the momentum of the institution, but reestablishing the leadership team is important.
So if you think about, you know, some signature initiatives that you might have or things that you might be looking to, can you give us just a general idea? Are those new programs? Or the changes to the campus, to the student body? What do you envision for Fisher?
I'd like to see us, and I've tried to talk about this a little bit in the early days, become more engaged in the Rochester community with our work. I think we already are very engaged, so it's not a statement about not being engaged to this point, but I think there might be more opportunities for us to coordinate the work that we do on campus to the benefit of people in the Rochester community, and then to really engage with people in the Rochester community and engage them in our campus life as well. So what that might look like, I'm not 100% sure at this point, but you know, we have great service learning initiatives that are underway. We've always had a very strong community service activity. We have a great Center for Community Engagement on campus. So bringing together some of those disparate entities today to have a greater collective impact as a campus community on the Rochester community would be something I would hope to accomplish in the short term. I think continuing to strengthen the academic programs that we have. I think we have a lot of great programs today. We've been blessed with a lot of great facilities that are the result of Dr. Bain's good work and certainly Dr. Keogh's work before him. So continuing, we're in a different place from a facility standpoint today than we were a couple of years ago. We do have a study underway right now looking at our residential life environment. We have residence halls that in some cases are a little bit aged, so we want to look at what the best way to proceed with them might be. And then, you know, always looking out for what new opportunities there might be out there that bring together our strengths that are mission consistent, and there might be ways that we can grow the institution.
So I was going to ask you whether you thought there were some initiatives that would make the Rochester community look differently at Fisher. So you've already said to kind of engage a little bit more with the people in the community. Do you see us extending our reach further than what we have done, which, you know, primarily has been upstate New York?
Yeah. We've been trying to do that, and that's hard work. I think we may have talked about that when we were together before, but we rely on the 100-mile radius of campus for about 80% of our student body. And we've been looking to try to expand that out first to Albany and Long Island within New York, and then also go out of state to Connecticut, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. So that's been underway. It's had limited returns to this point, to be honest with you. There's a lot of competition. The demographic downturn in the traditional student age population has made everybody interested in reaching out further. So yes, we'll continue to do that and to look for ways to impact a greater geographic area. And at the same time, I think we have to be realistic about what the return on that might be. So knowing when to invest and when to stop investing, you know, if it's not going to create a return that's valuable for us. But then, you know, if we are not able to penetrate further areas, look for ways to further impact the 100-mile radius with either different programs or gaining greater market share within those areas.
And we still have a pretty robust transfer population.
We do.
At least in some programs that I'm familiar with. So.
Yeah, yours is one. Accounting has been one through the years. Psychology is a big one. Nursing benefits greatly from transfers. The challenge is that the local community colleges are also experiencing some enrollment challenges. So Monroe Community College, which is our largest feeder, is experiencing same demographic challenges that we are as a four-year institution. So even expanding out the number of partnerships we have with community colleges has been a focus of the last couple of years. So we now have articulation agreements all the way from Buffalo and Niagara region over to the Utica, Rome area, Albany. We're looking down now at Broome Community College in Binghamton as a potential partnership site. So just trying to expand out incrementally to the best of our ability to do so.
Excellent. So I understand that Dr. Bain is still, even though he's retired, is still going to have something of a role here at Fisher, which is unusual. I don't think we've had that happen before, or not recently anyway. Could you talk a little bit about what the plans are to keep Dr. Bain involved at the college?
So we haven't had the opportunity because unfortunately Dr. Keogh left office in an unfortunate circumstance. But Dr. Bain has been named by the board as President Emeritus. And so it's a great honor for him, and it's great for me to have him in that capacity, where basically he has offered to really do whatever he can to be supportive to my tenure as president in continuing work with people that he knows, contacts that he has, really kind of keeping a whole set of people that he's interacted with for a much longer period of time than I have in the fold until such time as I have a chance to meet them or for him to bring them in so that I can meet them. So he'll be doing travel. He's already done some travel down to the New York area, visiting with alumni or key constituents there. He continues to represent Fisher in the community on a number of boards. So it's basically a partnership that I'll have with him in the coming years for as long as he wants to do it, that will continue to build on his institutional history and will benefit me in terms of the people that he'll be able to bring into the institution that he knows, as well as continue to represent the institution outside. So he and I had a great relationship and worked very closely together. So it's great to have him available still, admittedly in a slightly different role, but to still have him around the campus is great because he's been part of Fisher for such a long period of time that wherever you go, people have either had him in class or they've had the experience of meeting with him as an alum. So he continues to serve a very important role for Fisher. Right,
and I know we've been expanding some of our alumni chapters too, so it's nice to have another person who can kind of make some of those bridges as well. So,
it is.
Yeah, so that part is really nice.
Yeah, so it'll be good to work with him.
That sounds
as I already have, so it's good.
That's great. So before we close this conversation, I have to ask you about the candy. So I understand that on the very first day you took office, you were traveling around campus, and that if people go into your office, there's a lot of candy. How'd that come about?
I've always had a sweet tooth.
Okay.
So it's really, what I've found is that if you offer somebody a candy bar or something, they'll probably initially say no, but then, if you offer it a second time, they'll probably say, oh, okay, look at what you have. So anyway, I always had candy in the other office, but it was actually someone else's idea to go around the campus on my first day just with buckets. Literally, we took buckets of candy bars around. So it was a great way to just kind of break the ice and give people something to talk about. But we do have full-size candy bars in the president's office, so if you want to stop by, there will always be a ready supply of those. Okay. And it's just something that I think is fun and that Hasn't been good for my teeth through the years, but it's certainly been something that I've enjoyed. So it's a tradition we'll create in the president's office, and the students have stopped by, so they've caught on to it, and they'll regularly stop by to say hello. You know, if people come by to look for a piece of candy, it also gives them the opportunity to come in and say hello to you. So it's great. It's a great way to be able to break the ice and interact with people.
Well, that's terrific. So no little snack-size bars then?
No snack-size bar. We believe in full-size bars.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great to have the opportunity to sit down and talk with you. And congratulations again on being named the 7th president of St. John Fisher College.
Thanks.
So,
it's a great opportunity. Thank you.